Welcome back, Raider Nation and my champions. This is Eric from CSN, and today we're going to be going over some more training camp updates as well as taking a look at a preliminary depth chart released by the team. So let's get right to it. Oh yes, it seems that things are starting to come together for our Raiders as they return to their home port at Allegiant Stadium to practice and prepare for this week's first preseason game against Seattle Seahawks. And I want to allude to an article written by Levi Edwards of Raiders.com stating this very fact, and he talks about an incident that happened within the defense during practice. Basically, the first half of practice, the defense was just kind of not up to par, kind of lackadaisical, and Gus Bradley had just had enough. He stopped practice right there, started yelling at him, and basically told them to, quote, clean this shit up. And they proceeded to do just that and turned it up and proceeded to get 5 turnovers for the remainder of that practice. So obviously Gus was very pleased how the practice finished off. And this, I'm very pleased because this just kind of confirms to me that Gus has control, like I've been talking all along, and I think much more so than Paul Guenther did, and it's a very promising sign for this young defense. The article went on to mention a specific player by name, and that was undrafted running back Trey Regis. Yes, it's Regis in Vegas time, baby. And he even titled the sub-article as Trey Vegas, which kind of gave me a chuckle. Trey is taking full advantage of the Jalen Richard injury to try to secure that number 3 running back spot behind Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake. As you can see here, he's actually catching the ball. Levi Edwards mentioned that in the article. His ball catching skills were on display during practice as well. I know that was a criticism of him by some people, but he is showing it all. I know Bo Scarborough, former Cowboy running back, was brought into camp as well. Maybe he'll get the number 4 spot, who knows? But I am fully on board the Regis in Vegas hype train, and spoiler alert, in a future video I'll show you just how much I am on board. Now, the Raiders released what they call a preliminary depth chart this week, and we're going to first go over the offense. Now, looking at this from top to bottom, there's really nothing that surprises or shocks me other than Brandon Parker still being on the team. You know how I feel about him. But the same cannot be said about the defense. I really want to focus on that side of the ball, so let's get right to that. Oh yes, on the defensive side, there are a number of things I want to talk about, and I first want to stop at the defensive tackle position. Now, they have Quentin Jefferson here in apparently the first string column here. They didn't actually mark them. I'm going to assume that's the first string. If you look at both offense and defense, it makes sense. Then they have or Solomon Thomas or Darius Philon. Why not put or Kendall Vickers or Gerald McCoy? I mean, we're in mid-August. It's time to make a fucking decision. And if you're doing this not to butthurt these guys, then so what? Let them work harder and get that first spot. This just confirms to me what the suspicions I've had all offseason, where they've just treated this position like they're just sticking shit against the wall and seeing what sticks. And it's kind of concerning to me, you know, especially bringing McCoy in late. He was great at one time. I talked about him in a previous video. Also, they have nose tackle here. So I'm assuming this is straight 1 technique. They got Hankins here, but I would say McCoy's more of a 3 technique, and he should be fighting over here. Maybe they just didn't have enough room on this row. Whatever. We'll find out August 31st how it shakes out. Next one I want to talk about is this defensive tackle spot here with Max Crosby. And they have Max here at the starting position and Klee as the quote backup. Now, I kind of agree with it, the way they were talking about sending waves of pass rushers. I would say Crosby's a better pass rusher, and it would be great to team him up with Unique on the other side. But I think it's going to be situational. I think Klee's a better player against the run. He can seal the edge better. So I think this is kind of semantics, and depending on scheme, the other team's offense that's out there, what point of the game you're at, etc. Next one I really want to talk about that is really as surprising is right here. I've talked about Tanner Muse before. I don't know if they're just doing this to kind of light a fire under him, but it really feels like they're prepping him for this Sam spot. They actually moved Nicholas Morrow to the mic, and Kwiatkowski is the backup here on this depth chart, which is really kind of surprising. But I got to applaud Tanner Muse here. He came back from an injury. We didn't see him at all last year, and it's looking like he's going to be a valuable contributor to this team. The only other thing I'd want to note is Tyreek Gillespie. I felt we drafted him as a straight free safety. They got him as strong safety, But again, we'll see how it shakes out once we get to August 31st. Now, there's one other thing I want to mention, and yes, we will be going live this Saturday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11:10 Central, our normal live stream time, and we're going to be covering the first half of our first preseason game against the Seahawks. We're going to be taking a look at players that had great performances, some that had not so great performances, and try to get a general overall sense of where this team is at after some real competition. We have a lot of fun with these live streams, and I encourage you to join us. This video was brought to you by Chucky's Protein Powder, your likes and subscribes. If you have any comments, put them in the section below. I read every comment, and if I've had enough tequila, I'll probably respond to your comments as well. If you want to catch up to our previous videos or our playlists, they're right here. Thank you for watching and supporting this channel, and as always, go Raiders.